Hey, I'm Aaron with Off Grid Fabrications. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about our passenger side cargo carrier here before we install it on this 2023 Mercedes Sprinter van. Real heavy duty cargo carrier here. It's all designed and made in-house right here in Salisbury, North Carolina. We've got a pretty heavy duty 2-inch aluminum tubing construction. We've got a 3/16 mounting plate. We've got a whole grid here. You can put roto packs, you can put bike racks, cargo boxes, you name it really on here. Max tracks. I know we just developed a Agency 6 shovel mount that we're pretty proud of, and we're actually working on our own cargo boxes right now. One of the things that make this carrier unique, aside from the 2-inch heavy duty construction, we've got 4 backing ribs on the back we'll look at here in a minute. But it's the width and the way we mount. We have a symmetrical mount. This is going to match our driver's side carrier. So you have a nice symmetrical mount here around the Mercedes emblem on the rear of the van. But the 30-inch width is a nice thing because we're going to have 30-inch wide cargo boxes. I know a lot of people like to put their camp stoves and things like that, and the industry standard 24-inch box. It's going to be a little harder to do that. However, you will have the room to mount a 24-inch box and still get to your handle on the rear of the door. On the mounting here, a lot of people have a tire carrier ladder, or a passenger carrier like this with a tire loop on it. And a lot of people with these vans, they choose to mount their bikes horizontally, and you can use our cargo arms to do that. So we really stiffened up this place here. Added a lot of strength in. You don't want to be going down the road and seeing your bikes bounce and wobble. So this makes everything really tight. We've got an extra rib here, so we've got 4 3/16 ribs on this. Very strong. So you can see our welds and everything else here. They're all TIG welded here in Salisbury, North Carolina. Like I said, just a really nice product. We're proud of this one, and we're happy to bring it to your attention. So we've got a good look at it here. We'll probably make another video later about what we can offer to install on these cargo carriers. We plan to do a lot of support for that in the very near future. We're already working on it. And yeah, it's a nice product. So I guess we'll go ahead and get this thing installed, and we'll show you how to do it. We'll start with everything that's going to be included in the kit that you get from us when you purchase a rear passenger cargo carrier. First, you're going to have a step bit. This is going to be to widen out the outside and inside door skin holes. Your 3/8 drill bit, 1/8 pilot drill bit. We include a spring punch in all our kits. We've got a fine tip Sharpie for marking your hole. After we drill everything through, you're going to need to touch up the edges with some paint for some corrosion resistance. So we include a paintbrush, make that easy for you. It's disposable. We've got our marking template where we'll mark the hole. We include anti-seize in our kits. You'll actually get 2 of these packets, but you probably won't need that much. We include a little extra. This is going to be for stainless steel hardware. It'll last you a lifetime because it won't rust, but in the rare occurrence that you might need to remove this carrier for some reason after you install it, or while you're fitting up for install, we found that stainless steel hardware has a tendency to seize up or gall. So having a little bit of anti-seize on that will prevent that, which will be good. We've got our door hinge backing plates. We've got our hardware for our door hinges. This is our rubber shock absorber for our 3rd-point mount. This is our billet aluminum. This is black anodized. This is a 3rd-point mount that's going to go through the door. It's going to contact the door skin on the inside and the outside to give you some extra mounting strength. And you'll see these marks. You won't see this when you install it. This is during the anodizing process. We get these black anodized for better look and more corrosion resistance on the aluminum. But it's like a hard coating that eats into the aluminum. So this right here is where they rack it. So you will have a little bit of a mark there, but you won't ever see it. Our inside door seal. This is a deburring tool. It's a good thing to have. By the time you're watching this, we're probably going to end up including these in all our kits. This will be able to deburr the door hole before you go and paint it. Everything else, this is what you're going to need to install that we do not include. Just basic hand tools and a drill. I would say when you're drilling in the van, be sure you're measure twice, drill once. You only got one shot, so if you don't feel comfortable drilling your van, you should probably have a professional do your installation. The 9/16 wrench, a 9/16 socket with an extension, and a 7/32 hex key or Allen wrench. Also have some paint for corrosion resistance. We usually just spray this in the cap. Then we'll take our disposable brush, dab it around the hole. And anti-seize, grease might get on your fingers a little bit, so it's a good idea to have a paper towel around, quick cleanup if you get paint on it, anything else. All right, so we can get started now. All right, so now we're going to show you how to mark your hole on your door with the template that's included in your kit. This is going to be the first step. I'm going to go ahead and open my Sharpie and put it in my back pocket. All right, so what I like to do is just barely open the door there, let it hang open. That'll let me get my hands around the outside of the door there. And what I'll do here is, it's good to visually line it up, but I also feel to make sure this edge is flush with the outside of the door, because the radius of the door, it can fool you a little bit when you're trying to see if you're centered up on all the edges. So we want to be parallel to all the edges there. After that, I'm going to hold this with one finger there. Reach around and grab my fine tip Sharpie. That'll be included in your kit. I'm just going to make sure I get a full mark on this template here. Then once I pull it away, we've got a mark. We're going to later spring punch this, but before we spring punch anything, I suggest that you always take your carrier and fit it to your door. This is a heavier carrier. I know you might could install this by yourself. I really suggest, a friend, a neighbor, somebody here to help you fit this thing onto your door. What we do is we loosely put that onto the door here, and we'll tighten up just a couple bolts here, and we'll look and make sure we have it where we want it. Get your friend to say, yeah, it looks even on the van and everything else. You look at this door, line your carrier up on the edge of this door, and once we have it where we want it, where it should be, we'll take it back off and we'll go ahead and center punch and drill our holes. So we'll show you how to do that next. All right, so here's one of the two anti-seize packets that'll be included in your kit. What I like to do is just put a real thin film on the first three threads. So what this is going to do, like we talked about earlier, this is going to keep your stainless bolts from seizing. These are nylocks, so they are very resistant. The backing out is what you call a locking nut or a nylock. But sometimes when we test fit these things up and you tighten them down, you loosen them up and you tighten them on again, the stainless just has a tendency to want to seize up a little bit. So this will keep you happy, keep you from having to have a broken bolt or something like that. So definitely suggest using the included anti-seize. It does get a little messy, so have a paper towel by if you get it on your fingers, you want to get it off. But that's something to keep in mind there. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Set this on a paper towel here. I'm going to go ahead and do that to as North Carolina heat. We keep some fans running. Humidity, I should say. So you'll end up putting two in like this. We'll go to the bottom door, and two into the top. I'm going to go ahead and anti-seize the rest of these, and then we'll take you over there and we're going to test fit our cargo carrier. So on these plates, these backing plates for the hinges, it's important to note that these can only go in one way. So you've got a larger offset from the bottom than from the top. These are going to fit right in right here. We're just going to rest these in for now, so we'll just set that in there, and Corey's going to come around a second, and I'm going to hold these for him from the back. He's going to put it on the front, and that's why I said it's a lot easier to do this one. Not saying you can't, but I would have two people to install these. This one has some extra clearance cut out for the top hinge, just a little bit smaller. Same thing, we'll take this, we're going to put it up in the top. I'm just going to set that in there loosely and get a better look at that, the way that fits up in there. So that's going to allow us to now fit our cargo carrier up. Okay, so this is our hardware we're going to use to install the hinge backing plates. We've got 4 nylocks with a flange, and we have 4 stainless steel washers. And that's what we use for the back. And we'll go ahead and do that now. All right, so now we have the passenger carrier ready to test fit. So I'm gonna get on the back side of the door and help Corey keep those bolts in while he fits this up. All right, now we can easily rest a little bit on that bottom hinge. I'm gonna hand Corey 1 washer and 1 nylock at a time. And go ahead and start threading these up. Now, if you're having trouble getting to the bolts in the top hinge, you might have to tilt your carrier slightly towards the front of the van, just to be sure it's lined up. We'll go with our last washer and nylock here. All right, now I can see, Corey, if you'll tilt the back a little bit towards the front of the van, I can ensure that these are seated nice and flat. And now that my rear plate is seated nice and flat, we'll go ahead and take our socket and we'll start to tighten these up just a little bit, and then we can look at the fitment placement on the door. So Corey will take his socket and we'll go to that next. Good. All right, we'll go to the next one. All right. Bottom first. While we're tightening this top one, I'm being sure to keep this plate flat. All right. All right, so now we'll bring it around, the camera around to this side. We'll look at the back of the hinges. And we'll see on our rear here, this hinge right here, it's nice and flat. It's not cocked to the side or bound or anything like that. And that way we know it'll be flat and it won't rattle loose or anything going down the road. Okay, so we've got this loosely, just barely snug on the door. So it's tight enough that it's not falling. We can see that we are parallel with the edge of the door here, and our hole's where we want it to be. It's just a quick check. Like I said, you could probably go ahead and drill this, but I like to put everything on because you only have one chance to drill this hole in your van, so you want it to be right. All right, so now that we've verified our hole with the template is where we want it to be, we are going to take our spring punch. This is included in your kit. We're going to put it right in the middle of that dot we made to the template, and you're just going to push in until you hear it click. Now we have a nice spot to center drill. That's going to line up our pilot drill bit. All right, so now we have our 1/8 inch pilot bit there are 3 layers to this door. We only want to go through the first layer with our 1/8 inch drill bit. So I'm going to be careful not to put too much pressure. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to put the tip right where I just used a spring punch, and we're going to drill in through there. So did pop through a little hard right there, harder than I'd like, but you know, just don't keep drilling. Once you drill through this first layer, stop. Then we're going to switch over to our 3/8 drill bit. All right, now we have our 3/8 inch drill bit. Nice thing about the kit you get, they're all brand new drills, so they're going to be sharp. You won't have to put as much pressure to push through as I did on the pilot hole. But now I'm going to try to keep my drill very level, very even, and I'm going to drill all the way through the door now. What we'll have is we'll have 3 layers, and I'm going to try to just drill straight through this door through the 3rd layer. I'm just going to check, be sure I'm pretty level with everything. Just one hole. When I look through the middle, I can see the layer on the inside. So we're going to go through the 2nd layer now. Okay, I'm almost all the way through. You might have to take your drill bit and chuck out a little bit on it. We use a drill bit with flats, so you know you can get out on it pretty far without it slipping. I'm going to go through on the last layer of the door. One thing to note real quick before I do this, if you have a Revel, it might be this way on some crew vans. You can actually see where I started to come through right here. You will have a opening right here in your door, so you're not going to go all the way through. Like if you have the style door in the rear that has an opening right here, that'll be like under your plastics. So if you have plastics on your door and you're installing this on a Revel or similar, you're going to want to take your plastics off before you drill into your plastics. So this is a Revel that we just drilled, a Winnebago Revel, and you can see on the inside here we have an open area. That's what it looks like. Okay, now we're all the way through our door with our 3/8. And now we're going to take our step bit and we're going to open up the inside and the outside holes only. So this is a step bit. Some people call them a Christmas tree bit, but we're going to drill this out to 11/16. In this step, you really need to make sure that you don't go past 11/16 and you don't just keep drilling through the middle of the door skin. With the step bit that we include, if you don't drill past 11/16, you're not going to hit the inside. You can test fit this in the meantime with your 3rd point mount, and you can keep checking as you drill. It's going to fit pretty tight to that, so that'll be a good thing to check your hole width. So now I'm going to line up straight. Now I'm going to just slowly let the drill bit cut. So now I can see I just got it lined up. I've got one more step to go and I'll be at 11/16 diameter. Okay. Now we can also see this piece right here will fit. So I need to drill out just a little bit bigger. We keep that a tight fit. So I'm just gonna round my hole out a little bit with my drill. And we're right in. So what was holding me off there was a burr. Notice that I barely kissed the outside with the next step. That gave me a chamfer around the hole, deburred my hole a little bit for me, but you know, not enough pressure to actually cut into the next step of the drill bit. Now we can see on our 3rd-point mount right here, this is how we're gonna be set up. And we'll go to the inside next. All right, so for the inside hole, you're going to end up putting a nut in the socket, a 9/16 socket, and we're gonna cut a clearance hole through the inside, and this will just be so you can tighten that nut. That middle door skin we talked about earlier, that's where your nut is gonna sit on the inside. So again, we wanna keep our distance from the middle. We're going to drill out just to 13/16, and with this step bit, if you only go to 13/16, you will not hit that inside door skin. So just want to be sure. We can check it with our socket as we go as well, but just take your time doing this and be sure you don't drill past 13/16. Also, while you're doing this, if you do have a friend that can hold the back of the door for you, it'll help you out a little bit. So I'm going to turn the drill where I can get it towards me again. Don't get too hasty on this. Right now we're at 11/16, so I've got one more to go until we're at 13/16. Also, you don't want to spin the drill too fast here. You can go at a nice slow cutting speed, not too much pressure, just let it cut. And there we have it. So if you look on the inside here, you'll see that we didn't drill through the 3/8 hole on the inner door. Okay, this is where a deburr tool is great if you have one. Like I said, we're probably going to start including these in the kit, so by the time you're watching this, your kit will probably be coming with a deburr tool. Just like to take this and go around the inside of our hole and the outside of our hole and just tilt it. Be careful not to slip out, scratch your paint. Kind of hold it like a pencil there, and now you've got no sharp edges. Be careful whenever you're putting your finger in here, but just to show you, I can put my finger in here and it doesn't cut me. Come around to the inside, or the outside, I'm sorry. And we already deburred the outside with our drill bit coming through, but I'll put this, tilt it to the inside, holding it like a pencil, and kind of rotate my wrist around. That way I've got rid of any burrs in there. You know, when we touch this up here in a second for our paint to give it some corrosion resistance so this doesn't rust. Now we know we don't have any burrs or flanges of metal that are pushed into the inside of the door there that could maybe rust later. All right, for our next step, we've just got some paint primer. Here you could use spray paint, spray into a cap. You can use regular paint, if you have it in a regular paint can. We include this little disposable brush in our kits. So now we're just going to, I already sprayed this. Don't spray the spray paint near your van, especially if you have a fan on like we do. You don't want the overspray spraying onto the van. So I'm just going to very carefully get in here and touch this up. Okay, got a nice coat in there. I'm going to do the same thing to the inside. And then I'll move around the hole. I'm going to hit the inside hole. The middle door skin is what I've been calling it. I'm going to hit that from both sides just to be sure I've got it all covered. We don't want any rust on the inside of our door in the future. Move to the inside and do the same. Now on the inside, I'm kind of taking care not to go over too much, you know, like outside the hole, because we do have a cap that's going to go here. It's a plastic cap that we insert in, but since someone might not cover the inside of their door, you know, you might see this from the interior, I just make sure that I don't make marks very far outside of the hole. Then, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go into the inside and just get some extra paint on this side of the door where we drilled through the middle hole. Okay, we're on to the next step. Alright, so now that our touch-up paint is dry on the door, we're going to take our 3rd-point mount. We have a interior gasket here. It's going to go on one way just like that. Nice tight fit. Then we have the exterior shock absorber. And that's going to go right here. So you're going to be able to insert this into your van just like this. And now we're going to go ahead and mount the cargo carrier to the door for the final time. Alright, so now I have all my hardware staged. I have put anti-seize on the 3rd-point mount bolt. You're going to do a single washer, and we've got a flange bolt here, so nice even contacted pressure. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to bolt the passenger side up to the door for the last time. So I'm going to take all my mounts here and slide them through the door, and Corey's going to set them in loosely. 1 second, Corey. I'll put that in from the other side. All right. Alright, so once we have the piece loosely bolted on, I take my 3rd-point mount. You'll have enough room. Slide it in between here. Go ahead and insert that. I'll bring the door up. We'll go ahead and push our bolt through. Now this will be a lot easier to center it up on our door. We've got one nut. Nylock here. It's the only non-flange 3/8/16 nylock in the kit. You're going to take your 9/16 socket now on your extension, and you're going to carefully put this through on the inside. A short socket, not a deep well, works the best, but if you're in a pinch, you can take a cut off piece of paper towel and wad it up and put your nut in. That'll kind of space it off for you. Just tighten it on. By the way, I've already put this on with some anti-seize, so don't forget your anti-seize on the interior bolt here as well. You just want to make sure it goes on nice and easy with no cross threading. I can feel that it's up to the nylock now. So we're going to snug this just a little bit, but not too much is to pull this in because we won't be able to adjust it. So I'm actually going to drop that out just a little bit. I've compressed the gasket some there, and now we're okay. So we'll go ahead and shut the door. Now we'll be able to get this where we want to be. Once we look at it, we'll pull it back out or open the door. We'll tighten it down, and then we'll make sure all our rear nut plates are flat up, you know, not crooked or anything like that. And yeah, we'll be finishing this one up. All right, so now we have tightened our 3rd-point mount. If you look in on it, you'll see we have some compression here. You know, you don't have to torque this thing down like crazy. You just get this gasket, you'll see it bulge a little bit. You'll see a little bit of small amount of compression here, and you know, that's not going anywhere there. So now we're going to, you know, we shut this door before we tightened it up. We just made sure that we were, again, parallel with the edge of the door. So once we were parallel with the edge of the door, you know, we knew we had it where we needed to be. I had one hand under here, and we tightened this up. Now we're just going to go back. These are just still slightly loose. So we'll tighten her inside, and we'll be almost finished with our install. Yep. Bottom first, or? Yep. All right, so the last thing your kit's going to come with is just a little cap like this. This is going to go in your door and plug this hole. I do suggest, after you drive around a little bit, you know, you get your cargo carriers, your bikes, boxes, whatever, periodically check your bolts after you install it. You know, just always check all your equipment, make sure all your bolts are tight. You know, just be safe with it. You probably shouldn't have anything back out, but better safe than sorry on that. So you might want to leave this out for, you know, just a couple weeks. You can pull these back out once you put them in. You know, take a little screwdriver and compress the tabs as you pull. But yeah, I'll leave that one up to you. So this push pin will just pop right in. That'll finish up your install. All right, so close the door here. All right, so that wraps up our install of our passenger side cargo carrier. If you have any questions not covered in this video or the instructions, feel free to shoot us an email or give us a call, info@offgridfabrications.com. And yeah, we hope you enjoy your product. Thank you.